see this and have no clue what it means at all. But it's our little secret. Not that it's a small secret, it's a pretty big one. What advice do you have for aspiring voice actors? The acting part. I'll tell that to everybody. When I teach, any opportunity to have to take some acting classes, it's not just about voices, is to get in a room with people or whether it's Zoom acting classes, whatever ones they are right now, to be able to work with other people and feed off them, doing even improv, figuring out how to do that type of stuff. Stand up is fun to do, although very difficult. But improv is great, and any acting type class you can take is great. And while you're doing that, be playing around with all the different things you can do with your voice, because in acting schools and acting courses, there's a lot of work done toward understanding the different places your voice comes from, the different resonators. And if you're an aspiring voice actor, you need to know what the instrument is and what it can do. And just like someone hands you a guitar or a trumpet or a cello, you might say, I want to get into playing the guitar. Well, let's figure out what this thing does. These are the strings. This is how you play them. When you play it like this, it sounds like this. When you play this chord, it sounds like this. Or this instrument right here is exactly the same. And the bonus is you don't have to go buy a guitar. Everyone has one of these. And you can try and make music with it by just training it to do so many things. I can do a lot of stuff now that I couldn't do when I was younger. And my voice has changed now to do different things that I wasn't able to do when I was younger. But learn, take some acting program stuff. Don't just focus on the funny voices, and come up with your own ideas for voices and your own characters. But it can start by copying others, for sure. Do that, but don't let that be the only thing you do. Lots of people say, well, I can do Vegeta, I do Family Guy, this is my Homer Simpson. Those have all been cast and have been done. It's great. You can do your own impersonations of those, but you want to be able to come up with your own voice too and your own characters. But now more than ever, there's opportunity to be able to work in the voice world without having to be in some of the big centers around the world. Like, you don't have to live in LA. You don't have to live in Dallas, Vancouver, Toronto, New York. You can be in other places and start to get a bit of a footing. And then if it really starts to take off for you with doing some more online work or local radio stuff or whatever, you might be able to move to a bigger center where you can get a bigger agent that can get you more work. But keep at it. Have fun with it. It's the best. It's the best gig. I'm telling you. I take virtual classes with On the Mic. Awesome. Great. I teach there. I'm coming back to do some more very soon. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's a start to it. Whatever happened to Barry Watson? Barry, you mean. Barry Watson. These 2 T's there. We could have called him Barry Watson. Oh, there it is, Barry. Yes. I don't know. I think I knew Barry pretty well when he came up to do our first recordings with us in Vancouver when we first started Dragon Ball Z. He was one of the producers on Dragon Ball Z with Funimation, but I don't know, maybe he sold his shares in Funimation and made $1 zillion and took off to Cabo. I don't know. But all I know is I saw a lot of them when we were first recording our Dragon Ball Z work in Vancouver way back in the mid-90s. And that's I probably I don't think I've seen him for 20 years. So, no. Got rich. Devin O'Clock joined. Devin, how are you, man? This is the closest we've been to each other in a while. Not being able to be in the studio and see you, but I know you're on everything. So it's hopefully we can be back in the studio together soon, which would mean, though, you'd be getting on an airplane from Toronto, but hey, it's worth it. Or I'll go over there. Maybe I'll get on a show over in Toronto. We can work on some of there. Talk to some of the people you know. Say, Brian, he wants to come over to Toronto and do some stuff. I'll be there. Anybody who's not following this guy, it says Devin O'Clock joined on here. That must be your Instagram and your Twitter handle. This dude is mad talented. And you might go, oh, he's some new guy. No, he's not. He's been doing this stuff for a while. He's just fantastic. Landing some big gigs, which we can't say anything about because they're too big for any of you to know, and it's too cool, but you're going to find out. So, Someday. Yes. Wow, I can zoom in on myself. That's weird. Oh, I've got another thing to sign over here. Nope, that's for somebody else. Very cool. Well, it's been a good day, folks. A very good one. Throw a holler out there to anybody else who wants to come by. Say hi. I'll try to. This is my first time ever doing Instagram Live. I'm more of a sort of lurk in the shadows and tweet and Twitter kind of guy, and than having to post pictures and do that kind of stuff. So I haven't Instagrammed much, but because we were doing this Streamily thing and signing some autographs via Streamily, I decided to jump on Instagram Live, and I did an hour earlier today for my first time, and I looked really stressed doing it, but I figured it out now, and it's actually kind of fun. It'd just be sort of nice. I wish there was, I like hearing voices and seeing faces and stuff, so it's always weird to not see it. You're only hearing me and my own voice and the voices in my head. They get a little bit boring after a while, to me, but I'm sure you guys are all super interesting. At some point, we'll be able to see you all at the next con. I know there's a few lined up for this year once all those shots get kicked in. Actually, I do. You know, I'm supposed... Devin, how close is, if you're still there, how close is Windsor to Toronto? Is it very far? It's what's close to Detroit, isn't it? If I'm out there when I'm doing a convention there in September, maybe late September, that we will have to get together if it's safe to do so, and it better be. By that time, I'm finished with all this. Hey, look at this. I'm something Anna Drayton. I don't know if that's the name. I love it when people use their actual names because it's so... Nora Haller, thanks for the advice. Hey, you're welcome, Nora. And as I was saying, Nora, like On the Mic is a phenomenal place. Everybody that teaches there is great. If you can come into town and do a session with us, even better. Super close to Detroit. I've never been. Oh wow. Well, you know what? If I come out there for that con, maybe I should come in early to Toronto, and we should go out or have pie. And then I'll go to the convention. Oh, man. I miss the table readings. There's just something about them that feels right when a team is sitting down and going over stuff in a script and bouncing ideas off one another. Yeah, honestly, I wish we got to do more stuff like table readings in voiceover. We don't get to do a ton of them. We got to do... and recently, with Devin, and on another show, because of Zoom and not really being in a room with anybody to work together, we got to do some sort of Zoom readings, going through the script. So they weren't using any of the stuff that we were doing via Zoom to record, but we did some, it's kind of like doing a table reading with the cast before we started recording individually on these new shows we've been on. And it was really fun. I actually enjoyed just sort of being around and hearing, because they'd stop and go back and kind of revise things and come up with the characters. But there wasn't the pressure of this is being recorded, you're doing the part now, which is usually how it is on a lot of prelays. They cast all the leads and everybody. We show up to do a show, and there might be 6-10 of us in the studio, and you're recording the first episode. It's like, okay, let's go. And sometimes there's extra time on the first day of a show that they give you, but you really are kind of figuring out the real takes and the real stuff they're going to use on your first time together, which I kind of wish we did a session where you talked about everything and chatted about the characters and did all that stuff first. I would be totally into that. And then you have your first recording session after you've gone through all that. So yeah, I miss that kind of stuff too. It'd be great to be able to do more of that. 3 or 4 hour drive to TO. Poop. Well, I could sleep in an Uber. Who knows? I love On the Mic. I'm from the States, so everything I do is virtual, but it's so much fun. It is, yeah. Well, it's great that they've been able to do that. So many were in session, but they were able to pivot with the word's getting old, with the changes, because everything had to be virtual for them to continue at all, because crazy noises and all the stuff we make in voiceover classes and teaching, it's just nothing but spittle and stuff coming out of your mouth on the in the studios. So there's no way you could put more than one person in the room together when that teaching was happening. So that would have really affected the school in a bad way if they weren't able to go online. And to be able to take that work online was pretty important for them. Anybody who's on here who's thinking about some training, it's a pretty great place. Everybody who teaches there, professionals that have been doing stuff for a long time, not just teachers in the business, but they all work pretty consistently in Vancouver, which is one of the larger centers in with English animation. Yeah, do you still talk to Andrew Francis? He just talked to me on here, actually. Andrew's one of the few people I actually ran into. He was coming out of a session of a show I cannot tell you about, out of a session just before I was going in. So we were both standing outside the studio, awkwardly 6 feet from each other with our masks on. This was a number of months ago, before there were, when the case numbers were still pretty high here in Vancouver. So, and Sam Vincent was there as well doing something else. So we had bumped into each other and we were chatting. So it was great to see him. We've been with the same agency for, I think, almost the same amount of time. I've been with my agency, Carry Talent, for 30 years this spring. And I think he has been as well, because he was, or almost that long. He's not nearly as old as me, but he was there since he was a little kid. I was in my mid-20s when I signed with them, but he was a little kid. So we've both been with Carry Talent for 30 years. So I've known Andrew for a long, long time. He's shooting a TV series right now into the 5th season of a series, so a Hallmark series. So he's doing great. Books, we should fix that. Push table reading, yeah, we should fix that. Our first show together had me record the same time as you, but Sean, albeit a tour. Yeah, the very first show we did. You weren't even in session with us. Oh wait, it was our second show. Yeah, it was Wish Fart. It was our second show. I had no idea who any of you were, because there was no faces. Yeah, that show was hilarious. And I was recording that, and even I was the one that time. You guys were all in Toronto, and I was by myself in Vancouver recording Wish Fart while you guys were all having fun together in Toronto. And then you saw how it felt with our next show together when we did that one. Super Dinosaur. And Andrew has spawned. Oh, what are voiceover agents looking for in new talent? Well, the last part of your sentence is what they'd be looking for. Talent. Yeah, I don't know if in voiceover talent, the thing that's you have to probably these days to get an agent. That's about the only time that demo is really necessary, is to land an agent. And I think it's important to do everything you can to just really make that pop and put your best stuff's got to be on there. I do when I teach sometimes when I'm teaching, and I'll get people who've done one course and they're like, yeah, I want to it'd be nice to put a demo together now, and who should I take that to? I'm like, whoa, we just did one class. Like, can you imagine thinking you'd like to play guitar for a living, take 14 hours in 4 classes, and you know a couple of songs and a couple of chords, and you want to record what you know and take it to a music agent and say, what do you think? It's maybe not as hard as the guitar, but you still got to come up with some great stuff. And just make sure you have some really cool, interesting things, fun scenes, fun stuff, no more than 90 seconds. And what they're going to be looking for is something that just jumps out with and sounds great. The acting sounds good. The voice is interesting. And every agent will be looking probably for something different, because some agents might have a lot of young male talent or young female talent. Some agents might want, we need more kids. We don't have any older women in our roster that do voiceover. So every agent's going to be a little different. And that's time, don't be down on yourself if a certain agent might not want you if you really have a good product. They just might not have too many guys like that already on their roster. So you want to be able to fit in and find a relationship with that agent that feels like it's going to work for you too. What does this say? This says, do you remember doing the power-up yells for Vegito? Those sounded extra painful. Every yell. Dude, every yell on Dragon Ball Z was like a nightmare. I was only happy if Carl, who was directing most of the time when I was doing Dragon Ball Z, if he said, yeah, there's a couple episodes coming up, but you're mostly in just talking scenes, I was like, oh, thank you. Just talking scenes. Thank you. Thank God. Because when he told me if I'd finish a session and we just started a fight, I knew my next 4 episodes were going to be screaming my lungs out. And it's, whether it was Vegito or just Vegeta or copy Vegeta or any of them, it is voice trashing. That's one of the few things that's the hardest on your voice. I don't even find deep, raspy characters difficult. It's yelling that's bad. I like hockey. Haven't been able to see any for a while, but going to games, I know Devin loves going to basketball, but I yell at games. I'll be like, yeah. And if I have a session the next day, I have to control myself to not yell because I'll lose my voice just from screaming in my own voice, let alone screaming in a character voice. So they're super hard on your throat, and you have to really be careful, hydrate, and look after yourself when you do those things. How do you not destroy your vocals screaming in each episode? You do. You do wreck them. Actually, the Dragon Ball Z is the only time I've ever completely lost my voice. I've had it be pretty in rough shape for a while, and maybe had to cancel a session or something because it sounds off character for a certain role that I was supposed to do. But the only time ever my voice was gone, and I mean like I was just, like there was nothing there, was after a 8-hour session when we were allowed to do 8 hours. The union doesn't allow you to do 8 hours here anymore. We're only allowed to do 4 in dubbing, and I dubbed an 8-hour session of Dragon Ball Z, mostly fighting, and it was the worst. Like my voice was toast, absolutely toast. 2 or 3 days before it started to come back, but I couldn't speak. So be careful. If you're playing around yelling Dragon Ball Z or Super Lines, it is brutal. It is brutal. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's cool that so many people have been able to use On the Mic from the States. That is cool. Hey, Brian, great to be back. Did you remember to follow my Twitter? I haven't. I went straight from... Is your handle here, 9FREI, is that the identical Twitter handle? If it is, I saw it, but I didn't follow yet because I've gone straight from the last Instagram Live. I went straight to a 2 full sessions of stuff with BabsCon that I just finished, and then I went straight from that to here. So I haven't been on Twitter. But if it is that one, I'll take a look, and we'll go from there. How was your experience in voicing Garu from Puka? Garu, Puka. That was a weird show, but I think that's the only show don't know if I said a line of dialogue. Garu was all sounds, running from Puka, trying to escape the kisses of Puka, and fighting people. I don't know if he actually said any words. I can't remember, but it was fun because everybody on the show was pretty wacky. Tabitha played Puka, and there was a great cast of some of the Dobson brothers and Lee Tokar, and it was a pretty wild show to work on. So it was fun, but I didn't have to review the script very much. Let's put it that way before we did those episodes. When recording Kai, how did it feel to do the scenes you didn't get to do in the original? You know what? We recorded them so far apart in time that I didn't even really remember what I had done in the original. right? If it was like if it's a year before or something, you might remember those things. But I know there were scenes I'd be like, I don't remember doing this, and we didn't. But it's fun to do them, and it's fun to do them, and it'd be a little bit darker too. Like we could be a little bit more not as family friendly, because we really had to be family friendly when we first started Dragon Ball Z. We were all blast you into another dimension, and they were having to color over all the blood on the characters and make it look like dirt. It's brown instead of red, and it was a lot of censoring in the early stuff that we did in Dragon Ball Z to make it palatable for the networks to actually even put it on, whether it be YTV in Vancouver or Cartoon Network or wherever, Teletoon, wherever it ended up in the States. Do you have something you're most proud of you wish more people knew about? That's a very good question, Devin. Proud of that I wish more people knew about. Wow. Are we talking in voiceover? Let's see. In characters that, I really had fun, and it didn't really take off in North America. We ended up doing, it sort of showed up in the, I don't know if people here have ever remember those Scholastic books that you could order when you were in school. Like the book people would come around, you could order books or take them home, and your parents would tick them off. But we did a series here called Geronimo Stilton. I wonder if he's up here somewhere. Oh yeah, there he is. This guy here. He's a really popular character in sort of soft cover young kids books, and but it's a character that was created in Italy, and he's sort of like the Harry Potter of Italy. He's that famous, or the Mickey Mouse of Italy. Like everybody knows Geronimo Stilton, and it became very popular. You'll still see stacks of those books on the Costco books piles. But we did I think 2 seasons, so probably 52 episodes of the series with them, and it's really fun adventures. Some of the same design team and animation guys from the Great Mouse Detective did the work initially on this show, and we just love the animation and stuff we were able to do, and I got to play Geronimo Stilton on it, and that's one I always kind of wished got to TV here in North America, but it was just sold through Scholastic. You could order all the DVDs, and I have piles of the DVDs, but that was kind of the only way to get it. It never showed up on a network here that I was aware of, certainly not in Canada, but maybe it did have a little run somewhere. But all that work was huge in Europe but we did it in English, and then it would all get dubbed and shown in Europe. But that's a show that I think I always kind of feel like I wish, because it was one of the first shows that I was ever the lead on. I didn't often get leads. I play a lot of bad guys, tons of sidekicks, villains for different seasons of shows, like a villain in this season of Ninjago, or a villain of that season of something else, or the sidekick of the lead, but not often the guy that the show is named after, Geronimo Stilton. So being able to play him was pretty fun, and that's one that I'm pretty proud of the work on that show. Would have been nice if a few more people saw it. No, my Twitter handle is 8Fra. What? Are you kidding me? This guy. When did you realize you wanted to be a voice actor? I never really realized I wanted to be a voice actor, Nora. I wasn't one of those things that just popped up. I just wanted to be an actor. Came out of theater school in 1991. I worked on some film and TV stuff here in Vancouver, like the X-Files and Stargate and Smallville and all that type of. We had a lot of sci-fi stuff is shot up here. Small roles on all those things. Toured some theater company stuff, all those bits and pieces. And I loved doing that. I wanted to be like a Broadway star because I loved Broadway stuff, but I'm a garbage dancer, and garbage meaning I can't at all, and very mediocre singer, so that wasn't going to happen for me. So I just started doing work in film and TV here, and stumbled into a main role on a G.I. Joe series that when some auditions came along, and realized this is really fun. And I never said to myself, I want to be a voice actor now. I just thought, I want to do this too, along with TV and theater. And then it's just kind of gradually took over everything else in my life. I was like, oh, now you have another booking in voiceover. Now you have another booking. Now you have another one. Okay, I can't do that theater tour. Now you've got this. Now you got, okay, I can't even go out for that TV stuff. And then it wiped everything from my slate that I've only got time for voiceover things now. And I became a voice actor, even though I'm an actor that mostly does voice. I think it's an interesting challenge, too. What does this say? To express emotions as a voice actor. Yes, it is. Why won't it? Oh, here we are. When you have no language, yes, it is. If you watch the first Pokemon movie, I love the voice acting of Pikachu. The emotion feels completely genuine. Yeah, it is, especially for the Pokemon. My son watched so much Pokemon stuff. I was talking about this earlier today. Mountains of Pokemon, collected books and books of the cards. We spend way too much money on Pokemon. That's true. Yeah, I've played a number of characters. Like, you'll get that with monsters too. I've played tons of dogs in different things. And when they can't just find a sound effect that's an animal sound effect that sounds like a dog questioning something or a dog sad but wanting more information, it's a difficult thing to do, and especially with the Pokemon when they just say their name, right, or a small range of sounds. That's what Garo and Puka were like. So it's tricky, but it's fun to do. Don't worry, kids. It's not blood. It's ketchup. Yeah. No kidding. Do you think that MLP represents the LGBT community, not directly, but through the way the characters react to each other? That's a good question. Do you think that MLP represents the LGBT community, not directly, but through the way the characters react with each other? I think you'd probably have to ask the LGBT community. We talked a bit about this in the panel that we just had, that we hope that Generation 5 of My Little Pony finds a way to connect those things even more. I think there's even more opportunity now with diversity and with being able to have characters with different genders and gender identities, and to create so many more interesting storylines now that they couldn't have done when they started. Well, they could have, but they weren't willing to when they started the fourth generation of My Little Pony and previous ones, to be honest. So I hope they move more and more towards representing what our communities actually look like. And the LGBTQ2 plus community is part of our community, and a massive part of it, and part of the theater and film and TV and voiceover community. And I hope to see so much more of it. I worked on a phenomenal project that I really hope turns out great earlier this year, that just represented, I think, so much more of what really exists in our world right now as far as characters are concerned. And I hope it goes well. Nice, good question. The Gold Goddess is back. Hello. I think you did a character called Seabreeze in them. Yes, it is. It was funny because it seemed you did a Swedish or Danish accent for him. Yeah, they really didn't know what they wanted to do for Seabreeze. It was kind of strange. They knew they were going to be tiny and they wanted to kind of pitch them, but they didn't want us to completely pick any specific accent at all. They just wanted it kind of, whether it's Norwegian or Swedish or Icelandic, just some kind of accent with that flavor to it. And we even ad-libbed gibberish type stuff that they wanted to use for certain scenarios too, which is, I hope I wasn't saying anything offensive in Swedish when I was ad-libbing any of that gibberish, but it was a pretty cute way to try and come up with a language for these characters. But yeah, my voice is really pitched pretty high on that. It sounds pretty silly, but it's actually fun what they can do with that. Yeah, the series was. That's about the only place you could see it was on YouTube, Devin. Geronimo. It's yeah, my kids read tons of the books. The books were just great. Andrew McNee? What is that theater man doing? Was that who that is? That man is in everything, except in a year when they take away theater from everyone. Andrew McNee, a phenomenal voice actor. and on a number of things with Andrew, and seen him in probably freaking everything on stage. He's just kills it, absolutely kills it. I am a theater maniac. We probably see my family from college productions to the big touring Broadway stuff to all the local productions, small theater, big theater, 40, 50 shows a year if we can. So we are jonesing for some theater, and that means we are jonesing for some Andrew McNee. So I can't wait to see what you're going to be on stage doing next, my friend. We have missed you big time. Hey, do we have a better chance of selling sand on a beach than seeing ocean? Guy, you know what? We are. I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm currently chatting with some people about trying to find a way to get Ocean Kai out there. Maybe we'll even put something together, some kind of a Kickstarter or something, and to tell Toei, hey, look, we want this. A lot of people want to see it, whether it's just kind of some DVD box set or we find a way you can download it or whatever. But they've got it. It's done. And I'm pretty sure it's edited, and they just need someone that's willing to broadcast it or someone that's willing to produce it for sale. But man, based on the convention I go to, every other person says, hey, I'd buy it just to see it, and see how different it is. I hope it's not garbage. I'm really going to be upset. I only see the stuff I do, which I think was pretty good. But I hope when it was put together that it's as great as the Funimation stuff, because those guys did a pretty good job with Kai. Dancing is overrated. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm so far behind. And look at Brenda has said hello again. I'm friends with Michelle Knotts on Twitter. She's awesome. All right, Michelle. I remember the pics you posted on Twitter years ago, the Pride Parade. I think it was awesome. Your father, many wish to have. Hey, we missed the Pride Parade this year. My daughter is an amazing roller derby girl, and she's been with their roller derby team in Pride a number of years in a row. And that's one of my favorite things about summer in Vancouver is participating in Pride Parade and not being in it. Although I was in it 1 year, and my wife and daughter have been in it a number of times, but going to it and just whooping it up. Too much fun. I think we're learning about how to approach those topics in shows and films. Yes, we are. Do I have a favorite musical? Wow. That's a good question. I love so many musicals. You know what? I don't think it's a good musical, but it was the first show. I think I saw it when I was maybe 16, and it was what made me decide, you won't even believe this, it made me decide I wanted to be an actor, and I saw Cats. Who would think that show would make them want to be an actor? It's jumping around in leotards, and maybe there's an inner wanting to be in leotards guy that's here that that made me want to do that. But so the first musical I ever saw, a big musical, and I've seen a lot since. I love the Book of Mormon. I have seen it 3 times and laughed my butt off. I love the musical Once. I love Ireland. I spent my 25th anniversary there with my wife, 3 weeks in Ireland. Once is such a fun musical. What else is a favorite that I could say I've seen recently? Cabaret is one of my favorites as well. Yeah, I don't know. There's lots. Have I ever met Jason Marsden? No, I haven't met Jason Marsden, but I think he was just here in town just recently shooting the Sonic sequel. I saw pictures of him in town, so I probably could have walked past him and not known it, but I've never met him. That guy can sing and dance and act and do everything. God, I hate him. You were in BF5. Yes, I was. Do you meditate? No, but I should. You were hoping it'd be Cats. And I haven't seen them. I will not see. Well, I haven't seen the filmed version of it because I don't think I can. But I don't know why. I don't know what it was about when I saw that. It was just something. I don't know. I think because I'm from a small town, it was the first time I saw something that was that kind of a spectacle. I'd never seen live theater that was sort of Broadway size. It was at the Queen Elizabeth Theater, huge theater in Vancouver that I came down to see it and do some other stuff. But we saw it with a friend, and I was like, what is this? I didn't even know that kind of thing existed. And I've since seen much better musicals, but that was the first that pulled me in. Oh my God, I love the Book of Mormon. Coming back to Broadway. Yes. I can't wait for my next trip to New York. There's the question. What do you think of the Cats movie? I haven't seen it yet. Do you think I should see it? God, I don't know. I don't know about it. I mean, there's so many great actors and actresses in it. I don't know if I can do it. Animated. Wow. There are so many questions here. What do you think of Cats movie? Is there an animated film that you think is better than Spirited Away? Spirited Away is phenomenal. I love if you're talking anime movies, My Neighbor Totoro is one of my favorites. I've watched that thing a zillion times, but Spirited Away is spectacular. But I never like to sort of pit movies against, say, is this one better than that one? Because they're telling different stories. So if someone gave two producers and said, okay, Disney, okay, Pixar, okay, Hayao Miyazaki, here's the same story, you each tell it and do it your own way, then I think you could compare, but they're telling completely different stories. So to try and compare, Spirited Away with, say, Inside Out or Soul or Up or a Pixar movie like that, it makes no sense. You just can't compare them. They're great movies, but it is one of the greatest. Oscar worthy, for sure. And I think it won. Have you seen 50 Shades of Grey? No, I have not seen 50 Shades of Grey. No, I've seen 50 different cats in spandex, which is kind of probably like 50 Shades of Grey, but I've not seen it. I've never been to the Lion King musical. I have seen the Lion King musical, and it is fabulous as well. Especially the costumes and the effects and the puppetry work that they do in it is unbelievable. And of course, the singing is spectacular. It's just incredible. I saw that one quite a while ago. How about your favorite superhero movie? Well, you know what? I've always been a little partial to Wolverine for good reason. I got to play him before, and he's always been one of my favorites. But you know what? It's funny. I don't know if he is my favorite superhero. We just binged the full MCU earlier this year. So of all the Captain America stuff, like the 23 movies or whatever, we did them all. And it's hard for me even in those to pick a favorite. I love Spider-Man, but then Doctor Strange is wicked as well. I'm a huge fan of Wolverine. I've never been a major Captain American guy. I think I'm a little bit more of an Iron Man guy, if you're thinking of that type of leadership. But I think a movie where I just sort of bend over backwards and say, I got to see another one of these, is I love Deadpool. And he's, I don't know, I've got like tons of my Deadpool hats, and I won't show you my Deadpool underwear drawer. No, we're not going to show you that. So he might be up there for the super anti-hero of them all. I just got to refresh that page. Okay. Well, we're getting, I didn't know your Wolverine real animals. Yes, you didn't know. Hugh Jackman didn't know that a Wolverine was a real animal? Well, he's Australian. They got different crazy animals down there. I'm envious of Spirited Away. The writing is beyond amazing. The characters are great. Yeah, it's one of the best. Are you going to watch The Eternals? Yeah, I am. I'm totally going to watch it. I think it's got a spectacular cast, and could be interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of the teaser, which just came out. I'm still going to see it, though. But I'm sure it's a teaser trailer, so they don't want to give away too much. They're going to probably show some crazy stuff for the next trailer, just to draw everybody in with action and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna see it. I love movies. I love Marvel. I love animation. I would see all that stuff without question. Are you still voicing Goku? I never voiced Goku. Vegeta! Kakarot is a fool! Who would voice that idiot? No, I did the very first English voice of Vegeta for Dragon Ball Z. We started the show here in Vancouver. We did, I don't know, the first 60 of them or something like that. Then they moved the show to Funimation for whatever reason, probably mostly financial reasons. And then all the amazing folks in Funimation in Dallas picked it up. And then we started it again, and I guess they had the rights to it up here, and we continued doing most of the rest of Dragon Ball Z, which aired here in Canada and the UK. So a lot of people have seen the ocean dub, as it were, of Dragon Ball Z, where I played Vegeta. And then I came back again and did them for Kai, Dragon Ball Z Kai, which has not been released anywhere. We finished that ages ago, so we're trying to push to have that released somehow, but we'll see. Last time I asked if you had any tattoos, you'd show them, and I think it ended before you could answer. Yeah, my thing stopped with right in an hour, and I couldn't jump back on. I do not have any tattoos, right? I think if I get some tattoos, maybe I should tattoo some better eyebrows. Like, see, the drawing there, I've got great eyebrows there, but my eyebrows like fade away, and I think you can tattoo those on so you don't look like you have no eyebrows. So I always look angry. The only part that's there is this, and then it fades really light, so I look like I'm constantly ticked off. Resting bitch face, as Vincent Tong would say, sitting across from me in a session. Thank you for answering my question. You are welcome. No, it's okay. Never be sorry for saying Goku unless you are actually saying it to Vegeta, but I'm just a voice actor, so I'm not actually him. Can you please say, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard in the Ryuk voice? My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. I think he sounded like that. It's been a while. That's up there. Is probably my favorite anime to work on would have been Death Note. I love the story. I was always interested to come back in and see what was happening, and I wasn't quite as directly involved in it playing Ryuk, but I just loved watching what was happening with that story. Dragon Ball Z is very different because there's so much fighting involved, and it's just like, are we fighting again? And then some of the Gundam series, although really fun and interesting to do, lots of kind of sometimes very convoluted political stuff going on with everybody that it's hard to keep track of what's going on. So as far as shows that I enjoyed coming back to see what I was up to next and what was happening in the series, Death Note probably tops the list of anime that I've done. I haven't done a ton of anime lately, but in the years, the many things that I've done, it's right up there. Right up there. Whoa, how much? I better, before I get kicked out, which is probably going to happen. Would you be my favorite? Thanks so much. Ryuk or Rem would have been my favorite character. Oh, cool. Wow, you got to watch some more anime if Death Note's the only one you've watched besides Pokemon. Those are two very different ones. Very cool. Well, I'll have to say today was a pretty amazing day. I figured out some technology I have not used before. Thank you for everybody who tuned in and was somewhat patient with me trying to figure it out. And for anybody that's still sticking around, that was here from BabsCon. That was some of the first conventions I ever went to that were My Little Pony based conventions, which are just run by fabulous people. Thank them for having me. We had a fun panel today. We had a fun time playing some Jackbox games today, and then this was fun too, to kind of figure out how to do this and still be able to connect somehow with the fans till we're finally allowed to jump across the border or jump into some other cities and visit people. I'll answer a couple more questions, and then probably in about 2 minutes it's going to boot me off, and I'm going to call it a day. Something I'm curious about, I wonder why the dub used the Japanese word Shinigami and not Grim Reaper. Yeah, I don't know. I like that they used Shinigami. myself. I really do. I think maybe because North American audiences maybe see the Grim Reaper as one being, and Shinigami aren't. There's more than one. Like there's many. There's a number of different Shinigamis. So I think it makes more sense to use that than just Grim Reaper, because we usually call it the Grim Reaper, as if there's just one of them. There's not numerous Grim Reapers. Did you like Willem Dafoe's version of Ryuk? I have not watched the live-action Death Note. I've only seen the trailer for it numerous times, and he's got a fabulous voice and is actually, I think, a great actor. I think he probably watched some things, whether it was the Japanese performance or some things of mine maybe, or what, just to try and find his own version of the laugh. But I like what I saw in the trailer, but I've unfortunately haven't gotten around to watching it myself because I've been told it's not phenomenal if you're a real fan of the series. Do you say positive affirmations? Yes, I do. I do say positive affirmations. We actually used to have our kids do that as well when they were younger. Well, everyone, I am going to pop out now as my 1 hour is about to wrap up. And have I ever seen The Last Airbender? I have, not the whole series. Quite a bit of it though, but it's pretty great. It's a great series as well. Not the movie. Yeah, movie was M. Night Shyamalan. Bad job. All right, everyone. Bye-bye. Talk to you next time. And I hope you have a fabulous rest of your weekend, fabulous rest of Saturday, fabulous Sunday. And I look forward to touching base with everybody soon. Hello, Ryan, the whisk taker. I look forward to seeing everybody soon at the next convention, and I will probably be able to get to at least a couple this year, whether they're south of the border in the U.S. or a couple maybe here in Canada, and then hopefully 2022 we can be jumping around and doing some fun stuff. Bye, Brenda Barry. See you soon. All right, everyone. Take care.